Good morning, traders. Welcome to the market call for today, the 29th of September 2025. We're excited to have you all here as always. My name is CJ, and I'm going to be taking you through the first part of today's market call as we look at the following currencies. Of course, we're going to be starting with the dollar index, and then we'll be proceeding to analyzing GBP USD and Euro USD, after which we would take a very short break. When we now return from the break, we would continue with our analysis, looking at gold against the dollar, the yen basket, GBP JPY, and Euro JPY. So these are the things that we have in store for you today, and we're going to be proceeding with the very first currency index on our list, which is the dollar index. So starting with the dollar index, if we're looking at it on the weekly time frame, it will seem as though there is no clear direction for the dollar index because of the rejections we've been seeing from the upside and from the downside as well. So you can see that the weekly time frame of the dollar index is not giving us clarity as to what we are going to expect from the market. But if we narrow it down to the daily time frame, you would also notice that on the daily time frame, the dollar index struggled to break below, because you could see that right here, after taking out this low, there was no clear closure of the candle that took out that low right there. Okay, so the dollar index did not clearly close below this low right here, and then it gave a further push to the upside. This was what made us know that we were going to have a deep retracement on the dollar index about 2 weeks ago. Now that the dollar index has given us that deep retracement, for me personally, since I've been seeing the trend of the dollar index, I'm expecting further sales to the downside. However, this could even be the beginning of the sell right here, because you can see that that's gone ahead to sweep all this liquidity and then it stopped around here. Okay, so this could be the beginning of the sell of the dollar index to the downside. So if I continue seeing this sell to the downside, I wouldn't be surprised seeing what the dollar index is doing right there. Now let's look at it on a much lower time frame to get more context. Now, if you look at the 4-hour time frame, the same still price has broken structure to the upside, but then we are still looking forward to seeing it sell further downwards. Okay, now let's take this off. All right. So from the push to the upside on the dollar index, you can see that it struggled to break above here. All these other liquidity parts have been taken out except for this. And right now, I'm expecting more sales of the dollar index all the way to the downside. So for me, my outlook on the dollar index is sales to the downside. That is what I'm looking out for on the dollar index. Now let's move over to Euro USD so that we could see how to implement that outlook on other currency pairs. Starting off with Euro USD on the daily time frame, you would also see that Euro USD made some liquidity run by taking out all these lows up to this area here before it started gaining. It found support around here and then started gaining momentum to the upside. On the 4-hour time frame as well, you're seeing that Euro USD struggled to break below here, and then this was the exact location it found support somewhere around this order block right here, and then it is moving back up. So I'm expecting buys on Euro USD, clear buys on Euro USD are my expectations for today into the at least the first half of this week. But for today, I want to see Euro USD give me a retracement before I take a buy position. And look, this is where I'm expecting the retracement to get to, somewhere around here, because I want to see price come to fill in this fair value gap, trade into this order block, and then we move to the upside. So I'm looking for something like this. So I'm willing to buy Euro USD from this area right here. Okay, I'm looking to see Euro USD buy from somewhere around here. Once I see that buy here, I'll be taking Euro USD all the way to the upside. This is my expectation on Euro USD. So for Euro USD, I'm expecting my buy. Where am I expecting to buy from one spot, 17000 region. Now for GBP USD, if you look at it on the daily time frame as well, you see that GBP USD even gave a deeper retracement, even taking out this low right here, which is like the low of this month of September. But if you look at Euro USD, you see that where's that low of September? That should be somewhere around here. Euro USD struggled to take it out. So I'm seeing an SMT divergence playing out here. So I'm expecting a long-term buy of GBP USD all the way to the upside. Now, if you look at it on the 4-hour time frame, let's get rid of this to have a clear chart. So we're expecting this move all the way to the upside. The 4 hours is still giving us that sign that we're expecting more buys on GBP USD. The buy actually started on Friday. We're expecting it to keep buying all the way to the upside. And if you look at other places where GBP USD could buy from today, I would want to see a sell-off to grab liquidity and then trade into this region. Then we'll be looking for a buy from there. So I'm looking for a buy of GBP USD from around that location. Okay. Now let's look at the 15 minutes time frame. You can see that the 15 minutes time frame, this is a very good spot. This is the high of Friday. I'm expecting that to return back here and then a buy to the upside. So for GBP USD, I'm expecting something like this and then back to the upside. So this is what I'm expecting on GBP USD. Once I see this playing out, I'll take my buy on GBP USD. So for GBP USD, I'm expecting a buy. For Euro USD as well, I'm expecting a buy. These are the things I'm looking out for today's analysis. Okay. All right. So let's check. If you have any question during the period of this market analysis, please always feel free to share your questions so that we could run them with you and then see if you have contrary opinions, and then we can look at the chart together. We're going to go on a very short break so that we could switch to gold against the dollar, the yen basket, and the yen pair. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned. And when we return, we'll proceed with today's market color analysis.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Market Color brought to you by the Value Flow Trading Team. And that was an insightful analysis from CJ, showing us what we should expect on the dollar today and particularly for this week. All right, so without much ado, we are going to be moving straight into the analysis of the precious metal, what we have so far and where are we heading to. So far so good. We've seen the precious metal buying all through last week. The past 4 to 5 weeks now has been a bullish week since the breakout from the long-term range that we have here. You've seen how that price has just been bullish all through. And this week too, what should we expect this week? Our initial outlook for the precious metal is a pullback, then a continuation of the bullish move, because there are still much more speculation that there's high probability this year we see the precious metal rally all the way into the 4,000 level, and gradually is approaching the place. Just all we just have left is about 2,000 pips, and we are moving to the 4,000 level. Because as of this morning, at the opening of today, we've seen how that price traded into the 3,812 level all the way at the stop here. So if you look at it on the daily time frame, that becomes much more, clearer. As you can see, today's candle happens to be a very bullish one, as price already traded into the 3,820 levels. Right now, let's quickly move to the 4-hour time frame. What we have going on the 4-hour time frame. Now we are seeing more like price after achieving the goal of 3,820 is doing more of like a pullback. Now, what should we be expecting today? Because we've seen a market structure shift somewhere on this 4-hour time frame again. This happened to be the all-time high initially for last week around 3,791 level. And we see a few hours ago how that price broke out of that place, and at the same time closing with a very strong bullish candle. Now, what is that trying to inform us? It's simply telling us that looks more like a resistance is showing up, then there is high tendency we see price, trade out of that particular level, just the way we are seeing right now. Okay, so this is looking more like a resistance. So what we should now do is let's try and have our resistance level there, meaning when price get to that particular point, there is still high probability we see it react back to the upside. Why? Because of this 4-hour candlestick that we are having here, which happens to be a very strong bullish momentum to the upside. Now on the 1-hour time frame, what are we seeing on the 1-hour time frame? Similar thing is playing out on the 1-hour time frame, as we already see the breakout from that particular high, last week high, and there is high tendency. We just see a pullback and price will just do something like this, just the way we are seeing it right now. There's high probability we see price do this, and we see continuation all the way to the upside. So this is another thing we should look out for. However, on the 1-hour time frame, if we look at our simple bus pattern, we already see we have a shoulder somewhere here, and this is more like a sweep, and we've seen price break out. So if this level did not hold as a support, because price already broke out of this resistance, if it doesn't hold as a support, then there's high probability price is coming all the way to take out liquidity out from this particular level. And you remember our analysis on Friday, how that we expect price to trade into this particular reference point, this fair value gap here. So there's high probability if this level did not hold, then we may see price trade all the way to take out liquidity. And even though we have this low liquidity sweep here, then it may take it out and tap into the fair value gap and begin to move up, knowing fully well that this particular candlestick we have here is telling us a very strong story about what happens, the toggle we have between the buyers and the sellers at this particular moment somewhere here. All right, so that is for the 1-hour time frame, our outlook on the 1-hour time frame. Let's look at the 15-minute time frame to see what exactly is playing out and how we can take advantage of the market. Now, on the 15-minute time frame, we are still seeing everywhere very bullish all the way to the upside. And looking at what we have here at this particular flip zone that we expect to be a flip zone, so we expect this to be a flip zone. So we are looking out that when price gets to that level, just the way we analyze on the 1-hour time frame, should pull back all the way, and you can see a breakout block somewhere around this place. So that is simply telling us that this should hold, all things being equal. However, if that doesn't hold, then price may just likely sell to the level we have marked out on the 1-hour time frame before the continuation or the buy to the upside. Now, we won't just hold our hands to see all this happening. And one thing we would advise is don't trade against the trend. Instead, when we see entry signature for the buy, let's just join the buy, right? But where price is right now, everywhere is kind of overbought in quote, right? So you just want to watch out to see how that price pull back and give a clean entry signature for us to join the buy market. All right, knowing fully well that there's the high tendency, we are heading all the way to the 4,000 key level for the precious metal. All right, that being said, that's that for the precious metal. Let's quickly get to Japan to see what exactly is going on the yen basket, and we use that to interpret our expectation on the yen correlated pair. Now, for the yen basket on the weekly time frame, we still have a market structure shift to the upside. That is what we are seeing playing out right now on the yen basket since we've been in this consolidation. So our expectation for yen basket is still more of a sell to take out this liquidity point. Then we begin to see the buy. But looking at what we have on the yen correlated pair, which we are still going to get back into the check, we are seeing that most of the yen correlated pairs already goes into their own POI for a sell, and they are only waiting for the sell party or the buy party to begin on the yen basket so that they too can sell. But what we are seeing right now is The liquidity is being there for the yen basket and is yet to be grabbed. So we are expecting today, this week particularly, this week, the month ends this week into next week, we want to see a very sharp sell to this level, this POI on the weekly time frame. Then begin to see the momentum for the buy all the way to the upside. And if the buy begins, this is going to be the first level we're expecting it to take out from the weekly time frame. So that is for the yen basket on the weekly time frame. And the daily time frame too, we've seen how that price kept, pushing gradually to the downside. And if you look at this on the daily time frame, there is actually something so amazing here that we may want to give attention to this particular daily order block. And we've seen how that price has traded into it right now. So there is high probability, whereas price keep trading into it proper, then we are going to see the sell start pushing to the downside all the way to our POI. All right, so if that is what we are expecting on the yen basket, then what should we look out for on the yen correlated pairs, starting with GBP JPY? For GBP JPY on the daily time frame, our POI for the sell still remains there. How that we've seen price tapped into it sometimes last week, 2 weeks ago rather, sometimes 2 weeks ago. We saw how that price tapped into that particular level. And right now, what we are seeing is price begin to push to the downside. Now, if you look at it right now, we've not really seen a clear market structure shift on the daily time frame. However, if we go to the lower time frame like 4 hour, we are going to see that we have a typical boss pattern there, which we marked out sometimes last week. This is the shoulder, and you can see how that price came tapped into the shoulder sometime on Friday during the opening of the New York session, and that was when we called the sell of GBP JPY. And you can see how that price pushed all the way down. Now, where exactly is price going to on GBP JPY? Because we've seen market structure shift here. This is the shoulder, we've seen the sweep and the break to the downside. But at the shoulder level, we see how that price built some level of liquidity there. So we're expecting there's still high tendency price coming to grab this liquidity before the sell all the way to the downside. Now let's check on the 1 hour time frame to see what exactly is playing out on the GBP JPY. Now for the 1 hour time frame, we are still very much we've seen market structure shift to the downside, which is telling us that it's more of a bearish move, and also knowing fully well what we saw on the yen basket right now, that the yen basket is going to test the daily order block, which means it's buying to that level, and that's why we're seeing the sell off on the GBP JPY. Now, if you compare it to what we just saw on the yen basket, we are going to see the momentum is not really balanced, because the massive way the yen basket is buying, we are not really seeing that equivalent in the sell of GBP JPY. All right, but one thing still rest assured for GBP JPY, we still want to see price, tap into this shoulder that we have here. So this is what we are likely to see today into tomorrow for GBP JPY, how that price is going to sell into this zone, and we are going to see the buy again to the upside, right? The buy to come and take out this liquidity. Then after this liquidity is being taken out, two things is either the buy continues or we see the sell begins from this point. All right, so that is the outlook for GBP JPY. Now, what is the now trade for GBP JPY, particularly on the 15-minute time frame? Now, for 15-minute time frame, we've not really seen most clear structure to join the sell pushing to the downside, because this is the last move, and we just saw price, taking out that level to the downside, right? So the best thing one is likely going to do is, if you are not in the sell since Friday, then this is not really the time to jump into it, because you may see price pull back to the upside from this point. But we are still expecting on the 1 hour time frame price to still sell to that POI. Now on the 5-minute time frame, what do we have playing out on 5 minutes is still very much the same. So this is just a day, today being Monday. You just want to wait and see your trading strategy show up before you pull the trigger. All right, and lastly, to round up, we're going to quickly look at Euro JPY to round up for the day. Euro JPY right from the daily time frame. We are from the weekly time frame. We already see it already got to our POI where we are expecting the massive sell, because this is it on the daily time frame. You see how that price came to tap into the daily order block for Euro JPY, and since then we've been expecting a massive sell of Euro JPY, because the last week happens to be more push to the upside. Now, could it be today is going to be the sell-off of Euro JPY? Let's see what the market is showing us. Now, looking at it for Euro JPY right now, we are seeing that is the one really playing to the massive buy, the buy of the yen basket. Euro JPY is giving a correlated momentum as we've seen on the yen basket. Now, no structural shift yet, but we are seeing the buy pushing downside. We've not seen any 4-hour structural shift. Price is just pulling to the downside. I want to take this more as a pullback because yen basket has not really tapped into its expected POI for the beginning of the buy. Right now, for the 1 hour time frame, we look at it from 1 hour, you are going to observe, do we have a boss pattern here? It's not really obvious, and if it is not obvious, then it is dubious. All right, so that is what we are still seeing on the 1 hour time frame of Euro JPY. Although we can highly take this as a shoulder, but let's go to the 15-minute time frame to look for more of a confirmation of what we have at this particular point. All right, now on the 15-minute time frame, good. For 15-minute time frame, we have a clear confirmation of that somewhere around this level. So we have our shoulder somewhere around this level here. So this is our shoulder here, and we've seen how that price broke through all the way to the downside. Two things happen for Euro JPY. If we begin to see the retracement all the way to the upside, then that means price is coming to tap into this shoulder here, and to take out this Asian high. And I'm most more objective about price coming to take out the liquidity around this top here for the sell using our boss pattern. All right, so when price gets to this point, then we will look out to especially when it gets to this shoulder, when price tap into here, we can look for our entry signature for a sell, all right, to the downside. So this is the outlook that we have on the yen correlated pair, and at the same time the precious metal. If there's any question, we would like to take it and for us to, before we call it a day. And if there's no question, remember the Falcon 2.0 is still very much active. If you are the busy type for work, and all you need to do is load your account with $1,000 and have $2,000 surplus in your wallet, and pay a monthly subscription of $50 and allow the bot to trade for you with a consistent profit. You know, sometime last month, every of our clients who withdrew last month, nobody withdrew less than 38% of their account size in 1 month. All right, of which Falcon does about, you can see it sometimes in a month. Last month, for people who withdrew, you see about 42%, 41%. The least happens to be 38%. You may want to jump off or jump on that particular offer. All you need to do is to reach out to us on our WhatsApp line or visit valueflowtrading.com/Falcon to read more about the Falcon EA and jump on the offer as soon as you can. So meet again by 2 p.m. for the New York recap. Make sure you trade cautiously and use your proper risk management strategy. I'm the sharing. Cheers and God bless.